Coffee time in the morning featuring wild asses. Seriously, donkeys have been braying at us all morning. Okay, so we had a bit of a long day yesterday. 5 days of food on your back, plus I've been off trail for a month or two. It was easy enough. I mean, it was flat. It's just, short days and your feet are hurting by the end of the day. So today we would hopefully be able to do a little bit of a shorter day. If we could do 15 miles a day, we could finish within our time window easily. However, again, it's hunting season, so we can only camp in the designated spots. So as far as our options, there's some designated hunter or hiker camps at mile 45 or 51. We're currently at 28.9. Where it gets difficult is actually the water supply. So per the guide, we have a water source in 4 miles, and then that would be it. So we would need to have enough water to make it through the rest of the day plus camp. Or we're going to have to make kind of a long day here. Again. Looking at other people who have done this trail, some people choose to cache water. We technically could have. I mean, we had a car out here. It just didn't seem worth it until you're here. And then you're like, oh. As always, the big concern about dry camping, there's taters, is will there be enough water for me to fully enjoy morning coffee time? Because if I can't have my 5 cups of coffee, I mean, So I would rather drink it as coffee rather than have water for the hike, dehydration. It's also Friday, so we're expecting that hunter activity is going to get a bit heavier. We did run into a lot of day hikers yesterday right around the lake and that campground, probably less than we would have usually, I'm guessing, because the campground was closed due to a well failure, as the guy told us when he came to chase us off, just in case we'd missed he probably had 50 signs scattered around that campground. Every faucet was wrapped and had a sign, and the gate was barred. He really liked that laminaire deer he had in the RV, apparently. So one could say we're late getting started because I wouldn't get out of the tent, or because Taters was in the chair. So far it hasn't been too hot. We're sweating the entire day, but at least it's been partially cloudy and we have some tree cover and the breeze has been going. I kind of figure after the whole experience on the ECT, I was owed a little bit of good weather anyway. But really the bad weather is just lagging. So we left Southern California, and right now the canyons back where we live are having their second round of mudslide closures, etc. The things I do for LNT. I had to bushwhack back here to dig a LNT valid cat hole, and a lot of these things have big spikes on them. It is nice to be back in places that have actual dirt though, because on the AT for so much of it was just rocky. So when you had to dig a cat hole, it was really hard to make it deep enough. Hence why so many people who aren't bothering to bring the little shovel don't make deep enough cat holes, and you end up with uncovered crap out there. Okay, finally after much work, I have gotten Blondie out of the chair. So we were dry camping because this was listed on the guide as low quality water. And you never quite know what that means. I mean, I've drank out of way worse than this in Oregon on the PCT, unless it's got chemicals or something leaching into it. But even where we filled up last night, there was kind of oil sheens on the water. Has the Taters would drink it seal of approval?
Yep.
Don't worry, the AZT and the CDT are going to have much worse water, so you'll be able to see us choking down horrible crap. So how wimpy am I? We probably did a couple 100 feet of gain yesterday in those 22 miles, and my legs are actually a little bit sore, which is just insulting. It's like, come on, I hiked 5,000 miles. I shouldn't be sore on something wimpy like this, Okay, this is the problem with all trails. We stayed at the waypoint that was the campsite, and it looks like that wasn't the official campsite. Okay, that makes sense. The other one had a actual sign, so oops. For the record, where we camped last night was not a designated camp, I guess. It was a dispersed camp that happened to have a chair. So we are currently a little less than a third of the way through this trail after basically a day and a few hours of hiking. But we're hoping not to have to do 22-mile days every day, because when the sun comes up so late and sets so early, that can be kind of a pain. And again, I have done a lot of night hiking, and it's not a problem, but you miss out on any of the views. Kind of gives you a different experience. So we do have some road walks along the way, though I'm told the longest one's only about 5 miles, which that's not really a road walk to me. That's just a road connector between sections of the trail. See, it's good to have done the Eastern Continental Trail. So the guide has notes about how you may have to get wet crossing here. Pretty little private lake, though. Darn it, there was about 8 turtles sitting along there, and I saw them just as they disappeared. So no Taters turtle reaction. Yeah, not really something I'm going to swap shoes for. I am basically a very, very lazy person, and I hate taking my shoes off unless I really have to. So this is one of those water sources that is marked as don't take water from here due to fertilizer and pesticides in the water. We're basically taking the tact of, well, if the guidebook says it's okay, we're using it. With a filter, obviously. Bundy, you're disappointing our fans. If you slide off, the turtles are down there. And here I am basking in my superiority because I just walked across, didn't get my shoes wet. The key is just keep your feet tilted back and walk on the edges. So yes, we could have gotten our feet wet. But this is so much fun, especially if she falls off. She wouldn't be hurt, but she'd be wet and giggling a lot. Maybe I should throw something to her. Blondie, catch! So this is where the water gets a little bit stressful. We've got about a 15-mile carry, which isn't that big a deal. But at the moment, we think we are going to camp before the next water source. Generally, I would be in favor of just pushing on to the next water source, but we have very short days here. So I'm a big fan of not carrying as much water. I rarely carry more than 2 liters, and generally when I'm through hiking, it's a single liter. But when I stop to filter, I make sure and drink about 1.5 liters or 2 liters at every stop. Jen will laugh at me because we'll stop, filter, I will drink a ton, and then I will carry 1 liter and not touch it until the next water source. So we'll see. We're going to fill up. We have 3 liters each. We're going to fill all of that. That should be enough to get to camp, have dinner, and more importantly, coffee the following morning, and then there will be a water source not too long after that. So if I could only eat one thing on this trip, it would, of course, be nachos. I mean, of course. But if I could only eat one thing, but it had to be something I could carry out here, it would be these. Animal crackers are awesome. Damn it. Just when we were counting on needing to make 3 miles an hour. And mud. Ah, the sounds of the wilderness. Okay. Now we get to play Frogger. Jen was just freaking out going, oh, we don't have to cross that, do we? And I tried to reassure her, don't worry, we're on the Lone Star Trail. This isn't like the Florida Trail where occasionally. Oh yeah, this brings memories back. So oddly enough, these clearings for power lines are like one of the definitive views for me as far as through hiking. I've hiked through so many of these on the PCT and AT, and I don't think I go through them ever on any of the shorter hikes I do. I have so many questions. So this is one of those water sources that's listed on the guide saying you can use it if you need to. Now we're about a week after some rain, so it's 1.5 drops, and this is rated at 1/2 of a drop. It is flowing. You can kind of see it moving down there, but it would be hard to collect. You can get a Ziploc or something, but the problem is everything's so silty. The moment you press the bag down to let water in, you end up with a bunch of silt in also. This normally isn't an issue on something like the AT or the PCT because we're more vertical. And so all you have to do is find where there's a step down, and you can use some sort of a baggie or a leaf and make a little spigot so you can fill your bottle off of. Flatlander problems. Ah, road walking. Ah, people hitting the bump strips and maybe hitting you while road walking. Okay, and yes, there are dogs out here. I just had to yell and keep my hiking pole pointed at one. Didn't seem that aggressive, but I was glad I had the hiking pole. Or, dog bait.
I was glad I had Matt with 2 hiking poles to protect me.
I'm now a professional at this after all my road walking on the ECT. Okay, not really looking forward to this because I think we're going to be a little close to the road, but we'll see. Blondie's already said she's not walking to the next camp, so
No.
It's either stay at the hunter camp or just take our chances getting shot. Or get up tomorrow before dawn, before coffee, and start hiking. And since that's before coffee,
he's not going to be okay with that.
That's not going to work. I'll take my chances with being shot. This is our roadside hunters camp. It's probably fine. I'm just less than comfortable with places where people can show up drunk at 2 in the morning and throw stuff at you after the East Coast thing. Okay, so good thing we looked around because this is actually way more extensive. And there's a porta potty back here. Okay, well, we found a spot relatively far in the back. I honestly don't know if we're going to see many people. I mean, it's Friday, so we could get weekend hunters, but it's also Christmas Eve.
Home sweet home for the night.